Hi, Predator taught me that fishnets are way mask. Andrew, and this is Gayties Toys. Today on MIA 80s Ladies, we're going to be talking about Kenner's Aliens line, but more specifically when Predator was introduced and sort of, was a bit of an offshoot of that. Especially this line I'm talking about was called Hive Wars. I've seen some sources say it was from 1994, some from 1998. Either way, this is a little later outside of the 80s into the 90s than I would care for, but my rules are just that. My rules, they're arbitrary. I don't care. I doubt you care either. So let's just get to it. For some context, Kenner was the one who made the Aliens toy line, I think in 1992. This really was, the start and the poster child for R-rated properties being made into kids shows. Kenner really went hard on, all the Marines, kind of wackadoo colors, but they really, aimed to build out that world. And then went on to just create all sorts of other like weird aliens to sort of fill out the ranks. They also went on to do, RoboCop, Terminator, all the, just absolutely not kid-friendly stuff. And in response to this, they even tried to do, Dark Horse comics that were a little more kid-oriented, or, pitched a cartoon series that went nowhere. They tried. I'll give them that. Sometime into the line, they kind of realized they were, running out of steam, so they decided to include Predator, who was, at least within the comic books, very, attached to the Alien franchise, and this really cemented that. They started off with the first series of figures called Hive Wars, which was basically an Alien versus Predator with Marines kind of intermixed into them. Series 1, the sales weren't really there, despite, a general, positive feeling about, Aliens and Predators finally, together at last. But there was a Series 2 planned, and that's where we get to the figure I'd like to talk about today. Originally simply known as She-Predator, or Female Predator. She was, with some just big bladed weapons and maybe a cape, and we never really got, a full description of her. These figures from Wave 2 never really saw any kind of marketing materials outside of just, prototypes that leaked out into the wild. So listen, I know She-Predator is kind of gross, but you do need to bear in mind that this was the time of She-Hulk, of She-Spawn, of Sheezus. These kind of things were very, normalized at the time. It's icky now, but, it is what it is. Eventually, we did learn that her name would be called Air Attack Predator, which is such a Kenner move. I mean, just such a big Batman, Arctic Shield or Lava Blast or anything, nonsense like that. And it did sort of make a lot of her accessories make more sense. I mean, the cape definitely was more, flying feature. Likewise, her look was just great. I mean, I just adore this figure because typically, when you would make a She-Whatever character, you might go Miss Pac-Man route and put a bow on her head, or just big clunky heels, or just give her just these huge gajangas, but they really did show constraint here. That said, if you're not going to go, ludicrous in terms of body proportions or, muscle mass, then at least I would hope they would have made her accessories. I mean, just hot pink or neon purple or something. I mean, just go hard. I mean, just lean into the RC of it all and say, if she's not pink, how are we gonna know she's a girl? The final verdict of this is really quite surprising to me. I don't claim to be a Predator expert. As I mentioned, Aliens was much more my jam. That said, I like the look, and again, this figure, just the frame of it, the compact muscles, I really liked it. So my assumption was that NECA, who's been the, almost the master license of toys all these years, almost since NECA was, created, I kind of just assumed they made it. So imagine my surprise when I sort of did a quick look at their, annual December checklist of everything they made, and she wasn't there. Now, I might not be a big Predator fan, but I know Predator fans, and they are not a huge group, but they are very loyal and very hungry. And, boys and girls, if you've stumbled onto this video, I'm trying to do right by you. I am very shocked that NECA hasn't done these. And I usually would cry foul at this point and say sexism, but I feel like there's probably two reasons why she's never been made. The first reason may have to do with, the actual like license NECA has with the Predator, brand. It might be that they just don't have access to characters that were unproduced or characters that were, kind of wholly owned by Kenner. I mean, that happens a lot, and it's quite possible. The second reason, I feel like this is much more likely, is that as adult collectors, we all know, the kind of dreaded words that toy companies throw around. That's 100% new sculpt. Toy companies do not love making brand new sculpts with, financial risk or with no potential of making them into something else later on. So the Predator, the She Predator, Air Attack Predator, as well as the other two, Predators from that High Wars Series 2, they were all very unique, very, different, very, shaped differently than the rest. So there really wasn't a lot of opportunity for NECA to use these again. They might do some recolors, but it's a big investment for a brand that they've not really pumped a lot of attention into over the past couple of years. They've sort of taken a pause and reinvigorate the brand when it comes time to movies, like Prey, for example. So perhaps in a year or so, after, say, Prey's sequel comes and goes, they might come back to this. It might be, all three of these, unproduced figures might be great for Comic-Con or something. I'm not sure, but I do have hope. I might come back to this and, discuss in the future if they ever do get to it, but currently, no such dice. Something else that sort of dissuades the kind of sexism, notion of it all is that NECA has indeed done a female Predator of sorts. From Dark Horse Comic, there was a series around a young human woman who Predators almost kind of adopted. I want to say her name was Machiko? I don't know. But regardless, she was basically like sexy human Predator, and they made a figure of her. She is very popular. I kind of think back to the 90s of it all, where it's basically like just some artists being like, I want to draw a really hot chick, but like in Predator stuff. And that's, I feel like as simplistic and demeaning as it is, that probably is, the reason for her creation. So great that she was made. I'd much rather, the Air Attack Predator myself. And that's my quick look at Air Attack or She Predator. Definitely an interesting choice. Would have been a great addition and something I would very much like to see in the future. But in the meantime, if you would like to like, comment, share, and subscribe, I will see you next time on MAIA 80s Ladies.